Hello, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something I've learned from one of my spiritual teachers by the name of Bashar, and he deems it as the 13th step. And what this means is to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that any change is a complete and total change. Um, and I think this is something that, speaking for myself, that I am trying to comprehend at this time. And in my collective's realities, it is something that a lot of humans don't even understand and don't really comprehend and maybe not even know about at all. And so I'd like to talk about it to maybe help myself understand a little more, reflect to you a little more of what I do understand, and maybe get some reflections back so that we can help each other grow and expand together and become more and more as we understand who we are as human beings and how physical reality, the physics of it is actually working, and how consciousness is working in conjunction with physical reality in our time here and now. And so the 13th step, like I said, basically is to know without a shadow of a doubt that any small change that you experience is a total and complete change. And what that means is, to me, basically, is that we are not tied into our past. We are not, and basically the present does not create the future either. Everything is here and now. If you've noticed, that's all you experience is here and now. You don't experience anything from the past. You don't experience anything in the future. Everything is right here, right now, including things that we may deem as antiques or artifacts, or even a picture taken of ourselves that may seem like it's from the past, but actually that's being created through our consciousness right here, right now. And the way consciousness works for humans on Earth at this time is basically our consciousness is shifting from one reality into another, which is called a parallel reality. So each reality is basically stagnant, and you can look at it like um, a film strip. You've got each frame is a stagnant frame until you start moving through that frame, and then you start to see the motion, and then you can experience what time is like. And that's basically all that's happening. Our consciousness is projecting our energy, our vibration, our frequency, whatever you want to look at that as, through these parallel realities, creating time and creating movement. We are the ones creating it with our consciousness. We are not our bodies. We are not our minds. We are not even our persona. It is just a channeled information, channeled energy that our consciousness is very strongly projecting into this reality that we experience, and projecting this energy and information through these parallel realities. And as that happens, billions of times per second, as this is happening, this is what creates time, and this is what creates movement. And it's all really an illusion so that we can have an experience of what it's like to be basically outside of heaven or outside of the spirit world, whatever you want to call that. Because what's really happening is we're dreaming right now that we are having this experience, and that we may or may not be in heaven at this time, and that we are actually, some people get confused and fall into the illusion trap that, oh, I'm just this body and one day I'm going to end and that's going to be it. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. If you exist right now, you're always going to exist. And so, as I said, this concept of the 13th step, realizing and knowing that any small change is a total and complete change, really gives us more freedom than we could even imagine, more possibilities to create the things that we do prefer, rather than tying ourselves down to a limiting belief, maybe saying, oh, this happened to me yesterday, or this happened to me last week, this happened to me last year, so just because that happened, this is what I have to experience right now. And that could be nothing but, further from the truth. It doesn't have to be that way if you don't want it to be. Of course, you're free to choose how you experience your own reality, and no one's going to tell you you're right or wrong. Um, because it's all there for your personal unique experience, and whatever you have to go through to experience yourself and to kind of wake up into these realities that we are spirits and we are souls, and we're not these bodies, and we're not these personas even that we put on. It's kind of like a play we're putting on so that we can experience um, maybe what it's like to not be in unconditional love. But really, that's all that we are, is unconditional love. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to experience the things that we are. God has given us so many gifts that we kind of maybe have forgotten, or maybe even take for granted at times. And I think it's really important to kind of talk about these things. And I'd love to hear other people's reflections on their personal experience and how they are remembering things, and how they're waking up as well. And like I said, the 13th step is a concept that I'm trying to understand, and I feel like the collective in my reality has maybe forgotten, or just maybe they don't even know about this. And so I'm glad to share what I'm remembering and what I'm experiencing with everyone. And by doing that, I can help. I help myself for sure, and maybe help even others kind of wake up to the reality that we don't have to look at things in a linear perspective or experience anymore. We are so much more than that. We are so much more than the third density. We are so much more than the fourth dimension of where time and space exist, and we are basically multi-dimensional beings. And like I said, we're really dreaming that we're not in heaven or not in the spirit realm at this time, so that we can experience what fear is like. Because when you're sitting next to all that is, and you are aware that you are part of all that is, in the spirit realm, fear is not really something that you can experience, and neither is a process of certain things. And I feel like that's one of the main themes that we come here to experience as humans, is so we can experience what it's like to go through a process of understanding, rather than have everything being instant like that. It helps us learn about who we are a lot more. It helps us get more of an understanding of who we are. And so, with all that being said, I'd love to hear back from the listeners about what are your experiences in noticing complete changes. I can even give you an example. Say you have a friend, and maybe you go out of town or move out of town for a certain amount of period, and then you go back to visit this friend, and how often, it's quite a bit. It seems like that the friend will express to you, or you can even express to your friend, you don't really look the same that I remember you from, or you're not really acting the same as I experienced in the past. And that's because these friends, including yourself, are completely different people. We're not the same. Every change is a complete change, and we're shifting. Our consciousness is shifting through these realities, making it seem like that we when we have an experience, we have to kind of drag that out because of a linear perspective, and that's not really the truth. So like I said, I'd love to hear other people's reflections and how you're experiencing this, and I hope that you all maybe got some kind of reflection, and maybe got a little more understanding as to what's kind of happening in physical reality, as we try to understand the physics of it. This isn't philosophy. This is physics of what's going on, and how reality works, and how consciousness works. And thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.